All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and we got what could be some good news and an interesting twist to what's going on at lightweight. Specifically, we'll talk about Floyd Mayweather, Gervonta Davis, George Kambosos, little Devin Haney, and Vasily Lomachenko. But in short, Gervonta may get his shot at Undisputed after all. Let's talk about that in this video. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about the lightweight division. But before I get into it, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of all the videos that we release. And thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the like button if that is applicable to you. All right, man. So I'm happy about this. My source tells me that, and common sense based off some news coming out of Eddie Hearn's mouth, that Gervonta Davis might actually wind up at the end of the year getting the George Kambosos fight for Undisputed. There's a very good chance that it may not be Devin Haney, may not be Vasily Lomachenko, and it may be Gervonta Davis. And let's go through it. All right, so first things foremost, Floyd Mayweather Jr., according to my sources, is pushing for a fight between Gervonta Davis and George Kambosos on pay-per-view in the second half of the year. And the reason why they would be able to do that is part of the consolidation of the belts for the WBA. Now, if you're not familiar with that, let me give you a little bit of background on what the WBA is doing. First and foremost, George Kambosos is the WBA champion and Gervonta Davis is the WBA regular champion. The WBA is being forced by an organization called the Association of Boxing Commissions to cut down the number of belts that they have and to consolidate their belts. George Kambosos, who was the WBA super champion, would not normally have a mandatory situation. However, where they are now, where it is necessary for them to consolidate the belts, after Rolly Romero and Gervonta Davis fight, which will be an absolutely, totally demolishment of Rolly Romero. When that thing is out of the way, the next step for Gervonta Davis in that unification and the unification fight for the WBA regular is George Kambosos. Now, George Kambosos is currently in negotiations with a bunch of different people trying to make a fight for himself now. Devin Haney is the guy that a lot of people want to see him fight. However, Eddie Hearn came out and said, Dan Rafael released a report and said that DAZN is not interested in paying for a Devin Haney versus George Kambosos fight. And that is a lot to do with the fact that they are going to dedicate dang near their whole budget to try to get two fights with Canelo Alvarez, one being against Demetrius Bivol and a second fight against Gennady Golovkin. They are going to clean out their entire American budget for that, so do not expect them to pay above and beyond anything to get George Kambosos in the ring with Devin Haney. That contract, if Canelo Alvarez signs off on that, that is a wrap for that fight between Devin Haney and George Kambosos, unless Devin Haney is willing to take a big pay cut and George Kambosos is willing to fight for whatever regular amount of money that he was getting before. So that is more than likely not going to happen. The other fight that he is looking for is Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia more than likely is not ready for a George Kambosos fight, and they are going to wait. Golden Boy is going to wait for an opportunity for him to fight for a belt a little bit further in the future, because Ryan Garcia is still coming off. He hasn't had a fight yet. He's coming off of mental health issues, and I'm not belittling the man at all for those issues. Not at all, right? I went through them myself, had very stressful times in my life. understand where the young man is coming from. However, if you coming out of that situation, he's going to need more time to get his head right. And beyond that, again, he is a DAZN fighter. And the fight, the money, the people that would be paying for on the network that would be aired on would be, again, the same fight, the same network, DAZN, that is going to be paying all that money, $85 million over a 2-fight deal to Canelo Alvarez. So once again, Ryan Garcia is going to want to get paid very, very well for that undisputed fight, and so is George Kambosos. So that contract again puts that on the rocks. The other option is the Vasily Lomachenko fight for George Kambosos. So more than likely, what is going to happen is George Kambosos is going to take a tune-up fight, even though he says he doesn't want a tune-up fight. He's more than likely going to be taking a fight against somebody else who is not named Vasily Lomachenko, not named Devin Haney, and not named Ryan Garcia, because all of those guys' promoters have basically said that their networks are not interested in paying for that fight. Even the situation with Vasily Lomachenko, Bob Arum clearly said that, yeah, we would love to have the fight, but we don't know how we're going to pay for it because usually when he fights over there in Australia, the Australian government, whether it's if it's a local government, I do believe for the fight with Manny Pacquiao versus Jeff Horn, that it was Queensland. The Queensland government subsidized the fight, but he doesn't believe that he's going to be able to do that with the George Kambosos fight against Vasily Lomachenko because of the restrictions they have related to COVID there and COVID rampaging through the country. So that is off the lot. So the biggest fight for George Kambosos is going to be a fight with Gervonta Davis, but not over there in Australia, in the United States of America. So the fighting back, the one fight for George Kambosos over there in Australia, who against whoever it's going to be, will be his opportunity to fight in front of his whole town, and then he's going to be in a situation where he's going to have to hop back over the United States in order to get a big payday. And the biggest payday for him is the Gervonta Davis fight, not the Vasily Lomachenko fight. And that is also something that has been said and repeated by or at least alluded to by Luda Bella. Luda Bella has never been big on the Devin Haney fight. I know that he's been in conversations with Ryan Garcia's people about trying to make a fight with Ryan Garcia, but still, ultimately, the people that would pay for that fight would be DAZN putting up money for that fight, and that would be the network that it's on. And again, that's still, he got the same problems over there as Devin Haney has because of what's going on with George Kambosos. So, you know, it looks like if Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mayweather Promotions recognizing that, at least that's what I've been told, and see that they can sit in the catbird seat and pretty much wait for George Kambosos to come to him. And have it be mandated to boot, have it actually be mandated by the WBA because of the consolidations of belts. So it's going to be real interesting to see how this plays out. Unfortunate for Devin Haney that DAZN is not interested in that fight. Honestly, for George Kambosos, it's probably rough because he would have a better shot against Ryan Garcia than he would against Gervonta Davis, who more than likely is going to mop him. But it would be a very, very big fight in a lot of different cities in the United States and on pay-per-view, and probably his biggest opportunity to make a lot of money, and his promoter, Luda Bella, to get back in the good graces of the PBC, where he had a lot of his fighters fighting previously. So anyway, that's what I've heard. That's my take on the situation. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.